Nowadays, people seem to focus on criticizing, doubting, and taking apart. But they spend very little time on how to attach things, how to admire, how to swear loyalty, to copy, to service, and to build up. Everyone is information rich and meaning poor. It seems if you catch fire about something, rather than be admired for it, people will come for kilometers to see you burn. What I'd like to talk to you today about is moving away from this self-centered, critical approach to life, to a life filled with passion about our Christian faith. You might not see yourself as an exemplar, but as the philosopher Eva Braun put it, there is a feeling of delightful humility in knowing that you are lesser, but are bound by love to something greater, that you recognize superiority and are inspired by it. I'm going to use a framework for the development of intellectual virtues by David Brooks to look at how each of us can grow in our Christian faith. There's only 3 steps, so don't panic. Okay, step 1. See yourself in a long line of people who have entered into this journey. Everyone has a starting point, whether it was Paul, Martin Luther, or Mother Teresa. Where you are on the journey is a personal matter just for you. Share and learn from others, and continue to seek out ways to continue your journey. Don't quit. Say you have learned it all, done all you can. If you do, your faith will stagnate. Remember, you're not operating in isolation. Your family and friends are looking to you for an example as to how they should lead their lives. They may not be consciously aware of this, but how many times have you caught yourself saying, "Ooh, I sounded just like, or I acted like my mother or my father or my grandparent"? There was a picture on Facebook of a man doing push-ups beside a small child who was imitating him. The caption said, "Don't quit. Someone is watching you." Step 2. Make yourself fully aware of what your faith means. Study the Bible and its teachings so you can recognize faith in action and ignore those who say they read the Bible, are acting in Christian ways, but are not. They seek their own personal gain rather than show the love of Jesus Christ. Read the Bible and commentaries, engage in Bible studies, prayer groups, come to church. When you can see an actual use for the knowledge in your faith journey, you hunger for it. When I taught at the college, when the students could see a use for their education, all of a sudden they wanted to learn. I hope you see a use for this Christian education in your faith journey. Look what the psalm, as written in the Message, and the Message is, of course, the paraphrased version of the Bible. If you, God, kept records on wrongdoings, who would stand a chance? As it turns out, forgiveness is your habit, and that's why you're worshipped. O Israel, wait and watch for God. With God's arrival comes love. With God's arrival comes generous redemption. It tells us of a loving and forgiving God who is there for our redemption. It tells us we can keep moving forward in our faith though we make mistakes. It doesn't matter who we are or what we have done. God offers his redemption and accepts us. Jesus tells us in today's gospel reading, it is written in the prophets, as they shall all be taught by God, everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. Take time to pray and be quiet with God. Listen, and you will be taught by the greatest teacher of all. Oh, I have 4 steps, sorry. Step 3. Learn and practice observing God in action in the world around you. As I always say, wake up and say, I can't wait to see how you're going to show up in my life. And if I miss it, then sing that old song, Open My Eyes That I May See. That song says it all. Open my eyes that I may see glimpses of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hands that wonderful key that shall unclasp and set me free. Silently, now I wait for thee. Ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me. Spirit divine. So the next time you sing that song, you have a context to sing it in. Observe and study those seen as exemplars of the faith. Read a biography of Mother Teresa. Watch a documentary on Martin Luther King. Look to those who have in your life, look to those you have in your life that have a life based on following God and showing his love. Get inspired to grow. Move forward in your faith. And every day, show God's love. Look at David in today's Old Testament reading. Absalom, David's 3rd son, had sought to overthrow David as king. He was killed in battle between their armies, even though David had told his troops not to harm him. Instead of being overjoyed, we read, the king was deeply moved and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, he said, O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would I had died instead of you. O Absalom, my son, my son. What a powerful example of forgiveness and love. Step 4. The development of courage. Courage to follow and demonstrate our Christian life. Christianity is not a spectator sport. It calls for action. Love your neighbor as yourself. Courage to show God's love even to our enemies, as David did. Courage to say something is wrong when the majority are doing it, like Paul did. Courage to admit we need the help of God and others in difficult situations. Courage to admit we have been wrong and do something to deal with the harm we have caused. Courage to walk with those that society has seen as unacceptable, as Christ did. If we have not done the previous steps, where will that courage come from? When we do these steps, the old desires don't go away. This faith experience changes the way we are. Sure, we still enjoy a Snickers bar. Our old desires don't disappear. They are now placed in a hierarchy of desires way below the need, and I mean need, to live our life through our faith in Jesus Christ. May this hunger and joy and passion grow in each of us. Amen.